Hey everyone, this is MrAddOil helping you fight your today for your better tomorrow. And in this video, we're going to continue on top career alternatives for people who know how to code and don't necessarily want to become a developer by choice, or they just can't find a developer job. And then we'll be talking about those roles coming up. So these are the roles that I applied for, and those were on top of my mind when I was thinking about software developer career alternatives when I was job hunting. This will be in no particular order, but the first one will be a product manager. And a quick overview of a product manager. It's a very packed, diverse, multifaceted role, but essentially you are in between design, engineering, and business. You're that person in between that's like the glue that holds all of the communication expectations. Basically, you're managing all of these expectations from these like departments in one person. But the thing is, you're not a boss. No one reports to you. You're basically an individual contributor that makes these like product decisions through influence versus like straight up authority. And as a product manager, you're in charge of seeing through a feature or a product launch from conception all the way to the launch. So that's like doing research on a feature or a product by interviewing potential prospects or users who might use that feature, to road mapping the product roadmap, doing some wireframes, and also during the product development phase, interfacing with the engineering team and leading them into crafting that product or feature vision, and then ultimately launching it successfully. In terms of skill sets, a product manager is expected to have some sort of technical background. I mean, most employers, they value that, right? They value people who have a computer science degree or like some sort of engineering degree. But I will basically reduce all of that into like technical knowledge, whether that's like coding or like data science. So you need to know something of that sort. You don't need to know it to like the greatest degree or the greatest proficiency like a software engineer, but you need to know it enough so that you can interface and have these high level communication with people on the engineering team. Next up, you need to have some sort of business skills, right? Your business acumen has to be up there. So this can come from leveraging, transferable skills from sales, marketing. You just need to understand what your role as a product manager is, to become the user's advocate, and you need to know what resonates with them and what ultimately sells to them. And that's basically the business skills that you need. Moreover, in terms of business skills, like for like bigger scale product manager roles, you need to understand the market landscape, competitors, your products, like pros and cons, and all of that. And that all trickles up into business skills. Next, you need to know how to work with cross-functional teams, so working with different departments. Remember, like a product manager, you're basically the hub or the translator, I guess, or the messenger for all departments. All these communications, all these expectations, requests, they funnel into you, and then you basically take that information and start making decisions based on what was given to you. What this could mean is, let's say you'll be talking to the engineering team about technical specs. Then with marketing, you'll be talking about a go-to-market strategy. And then to the executive team, you'll be talking about like the scope of the product launch, like its deliverables, basically information that they care about when they need to talk with, potential investors or the board. And next, product management skills. That's a given, right? You need to understand, I guess, like the full cycle of a product development, from like ideation, prototyping, having a workable MVP, all the way up to like a launch. Next, you want to have some sort of product design knowledge or skills. it could be fundamentals, like understanding the user experience, user design, fundamentals of like how a user would navigate through like a mobile app or a web app, and basically designing wireframes or interactive wireframes using like InVision, and basically designing the app or the feature so that it's very user friendly, very user intuitive, and the UX, the UI looks decently well. And next, some sort of data analytics. This could be some skill sets that you've learned from like data science, SQL, but basically understanding how to use data and being data informed when making your decisions. And lastly, interfacing with executive stakeholders. That could be internally when you're talking to like your CEO, your CFO, or people on your leadership team on the status of a feature, a product launch, and why it matters. Or it could be external customer-facing executive leadership team, where in certain part of the sales cycle, like a PM might be brought into the conversation to talk to a technical stakeholder from the client side, and then you have to kind of sell them on what you're building and who you're building it for. Next, there's like different flavors of product managers. So there's like the generalist product manager, which encompasses most of what I was just talking about in terms of skill sets. And there are like technical product managers where they might not have like the business aspect that's like really strong and on point, but then they're really strong on the technical point. So there might be those type of product managers. And then there's also product managers where they're really good on the design aspect and lacking on the other two. And then lastly, there are product managers. I think these are the general product managers who are just really good on the business side. And the average salary for a product manager in the Bay Area, San Francisco, is $140,000, which is pretty cool. And lastly, a product marketing manager. I am not going to go over all of the qualities of this because it really overlaps a lot with what I talked about in a product manager role. But I will add on saying that in bigger companies, when they're hiring for product managers and they want someone who's more specialized on the business side, they will create this title called a product marketing manager. And then this PMM is basically in charge of the business part of the product. So a product marketing manager will be in charge of the go-to-market and the post-go-to-market metrics. In terms of skills, you can dial it down a little bit on the technical side. I mean, it's so helpful for a product marketing manager to know some sort of like tech lingo, coding lingo, but it's not really necessary because typically this is a more business-driven role. So the emphasis is on your business skills, your business acumen, and then the rest of the skill sets that I mentioned in the product manager section. And in terms of compensation, a product marketing manager makes around $128,000 per year in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that's all I have for the non-customer facing roles that you can shoot for when you have some sort of coding skill. So to recap, I mean, the two roles that we covered were a product manager and a product marketing manager. Not too much, but I think these are pretty awesome roles if you can land them. Personally, these roles are actually much harder to get than a software engineer role. Actually, I digress. It's kind of hard. I mean, the interview process for a PM and a product marketing manager, depending on the company, is typically easier. For more like specialized roles, like a technical product manager, it will be actually kind of harder because there will be a technical aspect to the interview process plus the regular PM questions. But overall, I mean, I guess overall they're pretty much the same. But in the event that it's hard for you to, I mean, in the event that you're coming and you're trying to transition it into a software developer role, and your background is more business oriented, these two roles are worthwhile to give it a shot.